Good afternoon, Danvers. I'm Mark Zubarek, and welcome to the Topics of the Town News. And I want to welcome two of my favorite co-hosts, Tony Betancourt and the godfather of cable TV in Danvers, John Toomey.
Thank you.
So we want to just express our thanks to both of you because this was supposed to be scheduled, or it was scheduled for last Thursday, which was 2 days after the elections. But the only thing I got out of the elections is a major cold. So my achievements at the elections were really, staying home and getting some. Myrna Fearer gave me the recipe for getting rid of a cold of hot tea with lemon and honey. And Myrna, it was great.
It worked?
It works. Yes, it does, John.
Beautiful.
And Myrna is the old school, and she was very helpful. The one thing that we want to do is welcome to our local broadcast. Headlines are dedicated to the taxpayers of Danvers. What we first want to introduce is welcome to our new meat market or butcher shop that's on Maple Street. And what we have is some still clips, but I took those before the elections, and since then I understand that they have opened.
Yay!
I will go to the meat market and Modern Butcher, and I have to get the name right, the Modern Butcher, and get a few feet of film so we give them some advertising because they're a wonderful addition to our downtown, and it's a different array of businesses.
You're making me hungry already.
I am hungry too.
I hear they feature a sandwich every day. Supposedly, it's
Some
supposed to be
different
yeah.
sandwich every
Every
day,
day they
right.
feature one sandwich or something. I haven't seen it yet. Gotta go check it out.
So the next clip I have is from the demolished Bill Lee Hotwat area. And boy, it is a nightmare over there, but they're getting ready for foundations.
I think we poured a couple.
And there's supposed to be 137 or 147 units that are going to be built.
Wow.
And on the first floor, they will have businesses along Maple Street and I think not Holton, but Bill Clark Street.
No, Hobart.
Hobart Street.
That's
That's
why I
Bill.
get confused
That's
with
Bill
stuff.
Clark's
Yes.
area. And what I wanted to do is just give you an update of what's going on, and we'll get the next show. We'll have a brief update on that as well. The next item that I want to introduce is the woke control of Danvers schools, town government, and our small town visions. And we'll get into that in more detail, but I think that's worthwhile talking about because there's a lot of comments being made, whether it's in the paper or, well, papers, they don't exist anymore, but on Facebook and that. Election results. What access is being denied to the taxpayers at town government organization? What can we do? Election results were minimal. 13% of the voters turned out to come out and vote, and the primary objective of the vote was to defeat the CPA ballot question that was okay.
It made by about 200 something, 250 something votes, I think, is what it's defeated
Correct.
by.
It was
Yeah.
1,531 to 13.
13, yeah.
So,
So that was a good thing because so the people are speaking. Okay.
but you know what? The comment that Dan Bennett made in the paper is
I
that
didn't see it.
people vote with their wallet. And the thing is,
But they aren't voting at all.
or they're not
Small-
voting at all. Is
Small
right.
numbers that are turning out, it's ridiculous.
13% out of 21,000 votes, registered voters.
That,
2,887 came out and voted.
that many people are content.
Well,
They
it
accept
seems,
what they're getting.
it seems like the voters are asleep in their home, happy in what's going on. And the thing is, I think we need to encourage
No.
participation.
I walked the street and talked to people, okay, and honestly, and I knocked on some doors and stuff. And a lot of people didn't want this, okay. But the thing is, a lot of people don't want to show the force for it. That's the way I think. Everybody sits back and I guess sees what happens. I mean, we're fortunate enough and lucky enough that it was defeated. I mean, you know, it could, as far as I'm concerned, because it could have went either way. But I mean, we're paying too much money in this town for taxes, honestly. Okay, so I mean, this would have been just another tax. It should have been done a little bit better. Okay, honestly. Okay, I think what they should have done was give an exemption for people that are on fixed incomes. Okay, that are retired.
No, this
No.
whole CPA is a 2.5 override tax. And the thing is that this has been devised by the state legislature and the Secretary of State or whoever makes those rules because they were not able to do a 2.5 override in many towns. And the thing is that this was an attempt to give some free money, found money, and it's all coming out of our pockets.
I know.
We're paying for it, yes.
Absolutely. So that was one of the issues, and I'll just bring this up because we have one article on the warrant that was a special education supplemental appropriation. Now, this supplemental appropriation is what the school department requested from the town, and the town was gracious enough because they are obligated to pay those bills, and the town manager made an allocation of $1.5 million to compensate the school department for the special education that took place last school year. Now, what the Finance Committee, in their wisdom, threw another $250,000 from any reserves that we may have had from free cash. Now, tell me, what do you think free cash is?
I know. Well, they gotta put
It's
the brakes
free.
on it. They gotta put the brakes on it.
You don't have any control over it. The only thing you do is you pay it, and they spend it.
Free cash is leftover tax revenue that has not been spent by the town departments.
And they're spending it so they try to get more next year.
Well,
Essentially,
that's
what
the
it-
thing.
That's what it comes down to, I
that's
think.
it.
And I don't know, I was not elected to town meeting, but I will have my chance to speak at town meeting because this is outrageous what the Finance Committee is doing. And I have been accused of telling them that they're throwing money around, and that's exactly what they're doing. This $250,000 that they have allocated from remaining free cash to get it down to zero is a tax money that was allocated to support special education. But that's not what the town asked for, the town school department asked for. So this is allocated to the wrong item, for one thing.
We also have a problem. We have a new superintendent just got elected. He doesn't start until July or something. Am I right? July or August? I'm not exactly.
July 1.
July 1. Okay. we should give him a chance to see what he can do to help the school systems out. They're probably throwing money at him. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I know for a fact. I've heard from like my grandson's going to the prep, and I heard there's actually 10 to 13 kids coming out of the junior high school. They're going to be going to the prep instead of the high school. Something's wrong somewhere. They have to take a look at what is wrong and correct it.
And
Well, that they seem to be thinking that they can do it on their own, and they can run it on their own. What bothers me is everything I read says that the school is not doing as well as it should be. It has started to go down. What's
agree with
Uh,
going on?
Right.
Why aren't they doing something?
the school department has been going down in the ability to teach our kids for the last 20 years. And
20
the-
years?
20 years, yes. And the thing is that the school department, the superintendent, and the school committee have not admitted to themselves that our quality of education is less than what we expect in this town. The one thing that they're trying to do, and you know, in retrospect, the finance committee is trying to get more funds for the school department. But let's ask them for a plan of how they're going to improve it,
Well, that's it.
and not just to throw money around, because there are other departments that have been axed basically for their requests because there's not enough of other people's money that is being spent.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
the
our
school-
money.
The school department needs a test. How are they doing? What are they doing? And is it worth it, considering the money we're spending?
Well, the only
And it
test.
seems like it's more in the high school too. I don't know why, but it seems like it's more dedicated in that area there. That's where they have more of a problem. People leave and going to the tech versus private schools.
Well, we had students at the Fenwick at St. John's Prep, and these people are paying through the nose
Exactly.
for the tuition. Essex Tech, and they had an uprising last year about the number of students that go there. We should send more students there and cut our own education budget in this town.
But didn't we save money when they took away and sent the kids there from the Volk? I mean, shop teachers, all this stuff. We should have saved some money there, shouldn't we have?
We did, and the escalation of the tuition is going up, similar to what's going on in Danvers. So, let's move on, and I just want to, CPA was a third attempt to tax us to the max, and what about the trash tax that is coming? Now, they are really gearing up. The big elephant in the room is the trash tax, or trash fee, they call it.
Right.
And they've already basically said that this trash fee is going to be appearing on your water bill.
But no, I thought there was no fee. I thought it was for the barrels. That's what they're talking about.
No,
Am I confused?
this is an attempt to establish a trash fee.
It's another way to get money.
That's right. It's another way of getting money to operate their own little kingdoms that they have. Now, the trash barrels, and I don't normally agree with the town manager. The town manager has basically relied on the free cash that is available, which is tax money that's left over from last year. And he allocated that $970,000 to purchase the trash bins.
And I think it should be because it's a mandate. The mandate is to get those barrels.
Well, they see, there's a big issue.
Well, you
The
have to have the
trash,
barrels.
the trash contract has expired with JRM,
Right.
which we did have a great established contract.
Right.
Now what they've done is they've renegotiated to a new contract, but that is going to go up by $1 million of the trash collection piece.
Okay.
They don't want to admit that by having a $1.8 million trash collection fee, which is going to be annually, they are also requiring now to have these trash bins supplied by each and every resident in this town. The town manager made a point of allocating free cash, just tax money.
Right.
And he was right in doing that
Yeah.
because
it's
they
mandated.
have an awful lot of money floating around in this budget. So they have done all kinds of investments, and this is a capital investment. So the real cost of the trash collection contract is not $1.8 million. It's $1.8 million plus the trash bins, which they have sort of negotiated to make it hard on individuals because they want to replace them and have an automatic one-man show on a truck to be able to pick it up and dump it.
I understand, but I have a problem with that. They should have let us know a little bit more and talked this out a little bit more. I mean,
Well, they don't want you to know any more than what you are already told
they've
because you would object to it.
Well, exactly, because they already brainwashed us to recycling. They brainwashed me. I never wanted to recycle. Now I'm a perfect recycler. Okay, I throw out. I only throw out one bag of trash. Okay, it's one bag. Most of it's recycling. Now they want to go every other week picking up. Are you crazy? I'm gonna have to start throwing it into the trash.
They get away with it. That's the point. As long as they get away with it, they'll do it.
Well,
They
that's
get the free cash, and they're getting to be able to spend it, whatever they want to do with it.
well. The point here, John and Tony, is that free cash is tax money.
Well, we
It's
know
already been
it's not free.
collected
It's not free.
and it's available.
Right.
So why on earth are we debating the issue of the trash bins? Let's include them in the contract
Exactly.
as a line item, separate, and it's already funded.
Right.
The town manager, in his wisdom,
Right. And he
has
did the right
already
thing.
made that allocation.
I think he did the right thing as a mandate. They're mandating us to get these barrels.
But you see what's going on is somebody planted a seed in everybody's mind that we shouldn't be buying trash barrels for residents. Absolutely we should, because it is a requirement of the new contract. So, let's move on. This is not going to go away.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's sad because I mean, I think there's still too much left open. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know.
Honestly, I mean, I don't know. That's the way I look at it. I mean, I don't know how we're gonna do it. I mean, if the tipping fees, more people are gonna start throwing more recycling into the trash, and then the tipping fees are gonna go up again. I don't know if the tipping fees count anymore. Remember before they wanted to bring down the tipping fees? Every time there was a tipping fee was more expensive, so they wanted to have it on the recycling end.
Well, they roped us into getting recycling more prominent
But they went every
by-
other week with it. That's
by
the problem.
having a $1 million allocated to the recycling fee, and then we had to go and get the bins. So
I don't know.
it's
a mess.
beyond us. Woke government and large national corporations are censoring our history and now the children's books. And we will get into some items. But what I want to do is I want to show you a clip that I have found. And the best way we know to combat this woke government is to continue to report the truth. We are only a speck of dust in our universe. So there we go. There's my whole universe. We are a very small speck, either on Earth or in the whole universe. So what we want to do is Topics of the Town News has been an outspoken critic of the dictatorial actions and the fear generated by the national and local media. The draconian guidance and restrictions placed on our personal freedoms and liberties are illegal and unconstitutional. The reason I wrote that is because the last 3 years we have been under the thumb of government, whether it's elected, appointed, or just feeling their oats to control our population. So the U.S. has finally, and I'm not going to go through all the detail, but the U.S. has finally declared that virus is over on May 11th, 2023, only because the tax subsidies have either run out or there are no takers. The pandemic is an excuse for wealth redistribution. Now, that's my feeling, and I know it's throughout the country, that's what a lot of people feel.
I just got a note from my doctor's office on May 21st. Right now, you go in there, you have to put a mask on, okay? May 21st is optional. You can wear it or you don't.
Well, I have fought every single time I had to go in for my eyes. And boy, I got into hassles with organization.
As soon as you walk in the door, they put it right out there. You have to put
Yeah,
it on.
but I won't wear it.
And
And,
I gotta wear it.
Yeah, you know what? It's all resistance. You have to have resistance to what's going on. In addition, this is big government attacking our constitutional rights. These constitutional rights have been eroded for many years under several administrations. It accelerated since 9/11 and the infamous Patriot Act. And now we are all becoming sheep going to slaughter. So, what happened to Danvers?
Good question.
Danvers has basically changed drastically. The education cost excessive, no outcome values that they've provided, inefficient use of tax-supported education resources, excessive real estate tax collection,
That's for sure.
max levy, max free cash. Now, that is a subject that's worthwhile explaining because what has been happening, and this is by design
Oh, yes.
of the Board of Selectmen and the town manager, is that the budgets are supposed to be balanced, which is great. But they don't create their budgets from the bottom up. They create it from what it was last year, add on 5%, and
know.
they go on from there.
And no one's making 5%. No one, who's getting 5%?
The current budget, which I'm looking at last year's budget, is over by 10%. And 10% is what's available for them to spend on free cash.
I've never seen taxes go up so high. Like before, I mean, I've been in town 45 years exactly. Okay, I'm not okay. I've never seen them go up as like they're going right now.
You see anybody complaining?
Well, I'm complaining, and I know everybody I talk to complains, but they don't get out there and talk about it. That's the problem. What I noticed too is that the town's getting smart. They used to go through the one families, everything else. Now they're going just after the two families. They
Oh,
figure
yeah.
that we can charge the people more money. But then
Yeah.
again, where the people going to come from? Do you see what's happening up on the hill where the old Denver State property used to be?
Right.
They're throwing people out in the jack and they rent up $500 a month. I mean, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's what they're
Yep.
creating in this town.
That's
the sad
what
part
we
about
have
it.
created in the past.
Right.
And now we're going to create more of that. So,
Who's going to be able to live here?
well, that's the thing.
That's
And
the problem.
people need to wake up and start protesting.
I don't know. Either that or I have to all go on welfare. I don't know if they'll cover the rents though and stuff. I don't know.
Well, the town already has their own welfare system. Frequent CPA initiatives and override ballot tax demands. Unauthorized trash tax initiatives. FinCom finally said send it back, which I was very happy to see that the Finance Committee, when they introduced the article about the trash bins, they were not comfortable in going through the motions because all the Finance Committee does is basically recommends action.
Right.
Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter, but it goes to town meeting. So, trash initiative, they went back to the Board of Selectmen and they made a pitch.
I wasn't around. I heard it was a doozy though.
Oh, it was a doozy.
I missed it. I
But
didn't catch that.
but you know what? They missed the point of why they were there.
Okay.
And the selectmen basically sent them home packing with their tail between the legs because they were infringing on the policy setting elected officials.
It's the first time in my lifetime that I've ever seen the select board. I don't know about you. Stand up for something. I'll be
Well,
honest.
they did, and I hope they stand up in the town meeting because that is something that they need to do. We need leadership in this town, and the select board has not been in a position to lead. They've left it all to the town manager, but now they're paying the dues. So,
We need leadership, but we need it in the right direction.
complaints about FinCom about conservative values. Need FinCom members to run for elected office and represent true Danvers values. If the FinCom, and I came from the FinCom when I ran for Board of Selectmen,
I know. God bless you. You've been in a lot of committees.
if they want to, run for select office instead of complaining to the town meeting.
They should be encouraged to run more often. More people should be
Well,
encouraged to
They
run.
don't want the headache because select board is not an easy.
That's
it's-
why. That's why I keep saying they should get more money. The reason being, it might attract more people.
Oh,
okay?
forget
I
about
know
the
that-
money.
I know you say that all the time, but my God, maybe we'll attract a little more. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
It's
trying to
not
be
about
funny.
the money; it's the prestige.
Well, that's
and
true,
you
too.
have
Yeah.
two,
Yes.
three
True.
long-term members that
true.
have been active
It is,
in the town, and it's about time for term limits. But that's my opinion, and I'll stick to it. Management outreach is only to increase ability to control. Management is controlling the cost to expand the reach of control. And that's exactly what's happening is management in the White House, this White House,
This house a little bit better than the real White House. I'll tell you that right now.
well, that's okay. Forget about the real White House.
That
This
one
is the
is.
White House in Danvers.
God, I
They
know.
have to start listening to the public. And the public needs to raise their voice.
I'm hoping with the CPA they did.
Well, it's third attempt at it.
I know.
And they're not giving up. So we're saving the signs and we're saving the banner, and we'll get to the banner in a minute. Tax increases pending, but elected officials are afraid to take a stand. So, if the king is unwilling, residents must stop these dictatorial actions. And I eliminated the gold town seal because I think I've overused it already. Specific subjects for discussion. Our select board chairman is petitioning for a CPA override while the Beverly Airport real estate taxes are forgiven for years. $1 million is left on the table every year. And that's going to be, we have 3 warrant articles, I have, that I've supplied, citizens petitions. First one says let's go and collect the taxes that are due in the town of Danvers. Now, we made a decision back in 1997 to forgive that tax, real estate tax, which at that time was $6,600 for 170
I know,
acres.
and they're still
Now-
stuck on that figure.
Now, the thing is that we were supposed to get 2 representatives on the airport commission. The airport commission, in the beginning, acted pretty much what we expected, but it faded away from the decision process at the airport. Beverly Mayer and his cohorts have taken over the airport, and they don't give a damn about Danvers.
No, they don't.
So, but I don't know what they can do about it. But let's talk about it at town meeting.
Oh, I think we should. I think we have to have a real good discussion, because, I mean, really.
So,
So if you can't get $1 million, if you get a couple 100,000 or $500,000, who cares?
well,
Anything's better than nothing.
the aim here is to have a discussion. Put it on the table. John, you have something you want to talk about?
No, we haven't hit it yet, so we'll get
Okay,
there.
I'm waiting. So, the second article.
I'm hoping we have a discussion at town meeting and no one says, move the question. You know, I mean, I hope that's because we need a
Well,
discussion.
they can do whatever they want. They're still going to have a discussion
Yeah,
because
we need a
I have
discussion.
to be there.
Yeah, we need a discussion.
So
The reason being is something has to be done.
I need somebody to let me talk, but I think I'll talk to the town moderator, and I will
Well,
speak.
let me back up then if we're going to talk about the airport.
Yep.
There are 2 things about the airport.
Okay.
One that we have discussed often, and that's the airport, the facilities, the runways, and so forth. But the other thing that covers it is the federal government, who controls the air over the airport. And they control the business that's in and out of there. And this is something that we've completely ignored. The decisions to expand the airport have been already made, whether we like it or not, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's there.
Yes, we can,
And-
John. There's been a letter that was sent to the airport commission
That's not gonna
by
be control
from
over
the FAA.
the.
There's a letter that's been sent.
I don't think they looked at that letter. I think that got
That-
put into a
They're not gonna do a bloody thing. They're not locally controlled. They're
I have to
on
differ
their
you.
own controlled, federally controlled, nationally controlled. They run the whole bloody nation as far as the flying. And they run the flying that's here. And the thing that counts is they have already made the rules and they have already said, go ahead and do it. They're going to bring in much more aircraft.
This should have been fought more by the town, I'll be honest with you. I don't know why they let, I mean, really, it should have been, as far as I'm concerned.
They didn't
Don't you feel
even
that way, Mark?
they didn't even know what was going on. They're going to bring in more aircraft, jets. They're going to bring in more routes. I understand that the routes are going to be anywhere from Maine down to Florida.
Yes.
They're already
Can-
doing that.
Well, now they're going to bring in an unbelievable number of jet aircraft to take care of these routes. And my main concern is I'm afraid I'm going to be flying, or the planes are going to be flying over my head at low altitude for landing and takeoff. And this is going to be a real problem.
Yes.
It's and nothing is being done about it. Nothing is being said about it.
Right, and I keep saying this one big thing. I don't know what the town's waiting for. If this does happen, and all these people want a tax abatement on their property because of this, where's the money going to come from? Okay, where's the money going to come from? So someone's been sleeping at the wheel here. This is terrible. Really is. Okay, town should have done. This should have. We looked at this long time
Well,
ago.
see, the purpose of this warrant article is basically to give the town leverage
Right.
to agree to something that may be appropriate at this time. The previous agreement, and this is surprising because this was a 1997 warrant article that was passed by the town meeting. And what I was told at one of the review meetings is that that article was never filed with the legislature. So there is a lack of commitment.
I think it's
by-
a lack of cover-up, if you ask me.
Well, it may be a cover-up, but that's beside the point.
I know, but I'm being honest. But we're paying for it. That's the
Yep.
problem.
The second article, the citizens petition, and I put these together in 15 minutes before noon on the day that the signatures were due.
Right.
So it may not be the best writing. I'm not a lawyer. I'm an engineer.
I couldn't believe he's told you to get a lawyer. I mean, I thought the town was supposed to take care of us.
Well,
Am I crazy
yeah,
or
because they don't want to have anything to do with it.
I know,
This has been passed around to the Board of Selectmen, to the Airport Commission, to the state representative, and also to the
And they're trying
federal.
to help us. Believe me, the state representatives are really trying to help us.
Well, I
feel.
hope they can come through with
I'm
something.
hoping so too. I mean, but they are really trying to help. Okay, I don't think they're trying to shake it under the rug. I'll tell
Well,
you that right now.
the thing that I'm afraid of, and I went through this on another legislative action when I was in office, is that the legislative action had a lot of promises, and then it ended up in the circular file.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's been happening here all along.
It's already in committee, and it's going to die by July 1 or
I hope
September
not. I mean, that's
1.
the thing. Because I mean,
So-
really.
Yeah, but unless a group from this town gets to push it, they're going to ignore it just as they've done all along.
You know why? They've been beating us down. I mean, one time I got 200 something signatures. Another time was 250 something signatures. It doesn't make a difference. They just throw them away and they don't pay attention. They want. I don't know what they want. I guess there's one person that said something that's been really probably I think true. We have to get out there and start putting signs and starting to protest. I guess that's what's going to happen. If it has to happen to it, that's what we'll have to do.
A year
But-
ago, I made the suggestion on this show that we need a group to demonstrate at the airport and get the newspapers and news media out there, because you're not going to go anywhere if you're going to be such a peaceful demonstrator. But you need to get out there,
We
and
might have
that's
to.
where the rest.
But you got to stop and think too. How many stations fly out of there? See, they have their connections already. It's tough.
So what?
I know.
so
That's
what?
the reason being. Hopefully, we're going to bring enough.
Let's
attention to
get
it,
them.
you know?
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay. So thank
Jack,
you very much for bringing up that.
well, that's the two
Important stuff,
articles,
okay.
and the third one is basically to open up the town charter or the town manager act, because they're one and the same. And let's review it. See what needs to be updated, what needs to be revised, what needs to change, because right now, personal feeling, we're not being governed properly. Right now, we have a dictator in town hall because the selectmen have delegated all their authority to him, which is fine. If that's what we want, then let's make that decision.
If everything's going good, who really cares?
I know, but it's not going good. So, that's the three articles I hope to be speaking to, and I'll talk to Pat Fraser, and we'll at least it's a discussion
It's a
point.
discussion, exactly. I mean, a lot of people might not want to have discussion, but then again, now Pat Fraser's the one who puts the committee together to analyze this, from my own understanding.
That's what I'm
okay?
asking for. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know how this works or anything like that. It's not a bad thing. We're not. I don't think we're just trying to make the town run better. Isn't that what it's all about?
Well, I have been hearing from a lot of neighbors and residents, and maybe we should become a city.
I don't know
No,
if that's good or
seriously.
bad. I know. Well, that's been run.
A lot of people believe that we are no longer a little town in the boonies of Danvers.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, though?
It make the decisions happen much quicker than what we are now, because annual town meeting, that's when we spend all the budget. But they can do but you can also vote the bums out in 2 years instead of waiting, for the.
Yeah, but if not enough people get involved to make change, it's not going to make any difference.
Well, that is not embedded into this article, but it's an update that needs to be done. We haven't had one since 1994, 93.
Oh,
Yeah. And the thing is, I've been reading a lot of different articles in regard to updates of town charters, and one in Beverly was just done 2 years ago. And they did a thorough through, and they said, leave it alone. But at least they attempted to look at it, and people had their say. So, Jack, if we can throw up my turkeys. Oh, look at that. This is a result of the demonstration that was held at Town Hall on early voting day on a Saturday. And I'd like to just present to you the 5 turkeys. And we had them painted
I know they look really good. Wouldn't you have that done?
the day before. She,
Pretty good.
Katie Bean did that for me. And we even have one that has lipstick on.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have to fix that later, but right now, Maureen is still represented on there.
Maureen's doing a good job.
Yes,
I
she
I
is.
still think she's doing a good
But
job.
I just wanted to let everybody know that we have these turkeys. I was going to put them out here in front of us, but that's okay. I think we've overused our turkeys for a long time.
You want to keep them in a box so the paint doesn't wear off.
That's right. I have them up on the shelf over
Okay,
here.
see, that's what you want to keep. So you're gonna
All
keep
right.
that beautiful paint job.
Jack, another item that is happening over and above the Finance Committee and the School Department is that we have been notified that there is a movement to have a drag queen makeup session for teens.
Is this true?
It is. It's supposed to be this May 10th, Wednesday, this Wednesday.
Are you serious?
I am very serious, and this is an extension. I did a presentation from the library trustees meeting back in September or before that, just August maybe. I am not going to give them any more advertising, but this is something that's happening, and I put on only the safe brochure that was available. There are enormous vulgar drag show,
And what's the
Uh,
age? What's the age?
12
this.
to 18.
How about if someone young goes?
No, I don't think they'll stop them.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
But the thing is that this
12
is
to-
inappropriate,
that's not, okay.
for one thing, and the drag queen that's coming is very inappropriate in their website, because we got a copy of the website and I wouldn't dare show that on
What is going on?
cable, because I'll get shut off.
And this is going on at the library?
At the library in the Gordon room downstairs, And there
So
are
they have to get a permit for this or anything?
Oh, the library probably gave them the room. So I am very disappointed that this thing is going on because last
Wow.
year when I went to the library trustees,
Then we wonder why we have problems.
well, they denied everything that this was not being done by the library, but is being done by the town. So
By
who
the
in the
town?
town is organizing this?
What?
That's right.
Our money should be going through this.
Well, this is something that's happening. And I put a little blurb in here. North Brookfield forbids vulgar drag show at Pride event. This is by ACLU. The ACLU of Massachusetts is asking the town to reverse its decision related to gay pride events set for June. So, this was a part of an article that I saw, and the North Brookfield Board of Selectmen has attracted the attention of the ACLU of Massachusetts after members voted to deny permission for a drag performance during a gay pride event set for June. So Jack, if you throw in the flag, this is what's happening in our town as well. I personally, if they want the flag, they want the gay pride, do it on your location and wherever you want to have it, but not in a public location. This is right now, I don't know if it's sponsored by the schools, but it's definitely sponsored by the town. So I will go and report on that event, but I really don't want to because it's none of my business. But the library is our business. So,
But even the schools have it. They shouldn't. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know anymore. Can you explain it better to me?
can I explain this to you? This
I don't understand it.
this
What
is
is
not
going on?
this is not Danvers. This is the woke individuals that we have hired in this town. We have a library director that is permitting this to go on. We have the Board of Selectmen that are painting sidewalks or crosswalks with multicolored flags just like we just saw. Why is this happening?
I mean,
Because the Board of Selectmen do not want to act.
Because they allow them to get away with it.
Right. That's
mean,
permission is by silence.
Yes.
So, residents request. Oh, this is another beauty, and we won't get through the whole thing, but we'll get there. Residents request for recall election process, and a follow up by the select board. Petition process has started without support of our elected officials. Why do the why does the recall petition
they're fighting it like crazy.
endanger the Board of Selectmen? They've been there for 16 and 18 years. So what's the big deal? This is something that's needed, and this really goes back to the opening of the charter.
That's almost an impossible task, anyways. If you really listen to it, I mean, the signatures you got to get and
I
stuff in
know.
a certain amount of time, it's almost impossible. You'd have to be in a well-oiled machine to get something like that to happen.
Okay.
If
so
we have a
let-
machine like that, I want it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to go into the budget because the budget has been pretty straightforward. And I have used this material in the past. So what I want to do is, we have been instructed, the management wants us all to view their actions on the new town website. I don't know how many times I have been advised by town hall and the department heads, oh, go on the website, you'll find it all. That's a bunch of bull.
I know. Unless you
So-
really know it, I don't know.
No,
it's
it
tough.
doesn't matter. It's not in the order that it used to be.
Well, that's what
And
happens.
it's not the detail that it used to be. Some of it, I mean, I can't tell by the calendar of what's going on.
No, it's true. I'd have to agree with that.
Well, it does not make our life any easier.
I don't think
Me-
they did it deliberately to hurt us. I think, but I mean,
No, they tried to improve it,
right.
but they did not think of the
But
residents.
people that don't know how to use a computer well.
Well, no, they only thought of themselves or how they can make it easier for them to find it.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know.
So, Jack, if we can put our
Have you tried going on to look at that website you Mr. Toomey?
No. I don't do the.
I know. I tried. I mean, it's a little bit more. I used to be able to find stuff. Now it's a little harder. I mean, until I get used to it, you know. They said they were going to do a class on it, right?
yes,
Did they
and
do
they
the class
did.
yet?
I guess they did. Bill Bradstreet went to it.
Did they televise it? They should televise
No,
it.
they didn't
They
televise
should televise it so people can
That
learn.
would be too much information for you to use. What do you think?
Well, I mean, how else are you going to learn how to use it?
Jack, can we put on Einstein? I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. And you know what? I've used this Albert Einstein quote many, many times. But I want to make sure that it sinks into your, to
It
your
does.
head because it is sad.
It is, but you know something? The technology is good, but only if you know how to use it.
Well, it's not that they want to feed you the stuff that they want you to know, not necessarily what you hear at the meetings. So the interaction at meetings is more beneficial than looking it up on the website. They don't want any attendance at meetings. The
I
selectmen
think they
don't.
want to. Just people just don't show up.
Well, because they're being ignored. Look at the process of citizens' comments. Yeah, okay, so you can say whatever you want, what you think you should be getting, and what they do is they hear you, they wrap it up in a piece of paper and put it in the
They're
wastebasket.
going to get back to you, but
Because they
they
never get back to you. That's right. And the thing that's intentional. That
I know, but-
gives you a voice, but there's no answer to it.
That's true. I guess unless you're stubborn, follow up on it. I guess that's
Yeah,
about
well.
it.
The Board of Selectmen is also acting in restrictive questions by members. Need to discuss the restrictive questioning of board candidates by our elite Board of Selectmen chairman. Why are you restricting the questions that your fellow board members may have? They are elected as you are elected, and the thing is, those questions need to be raised. So, the next one here is, Jack, we can put in my Tasmanian devil.
There you go.
I miss the good old days. Remember when you could actually have an opinion without offending somebody.
Exactly.
So, I have,
So
I
you got to
think
be careful.
I think we ran out of time, but that's okay. We're getting close to it. But I like to, it's time for Danvers to speak up with a united voice to tell the education establishment and the town hall establishment we're watching.
We all have to live together.
Peaceful coexistence.
Yes.
That's what it's called. And we want them to stop indoctrinating our residents and our kids with radical left propaganda.
And we want our kids to stay here, not to have to move out.
The indoctrination in our schools is being disguised and needs to be exposed. Parents and the community must ask for leadership from our school committee and our board of selectmen. We need public communication and not the dribble on the websites. rarely opened by our residents. Technology is not the answer for communications. Face-to-face communications is what this whole select board, school committee, look at what's going on with the school committee. They moved their meeting to the auditorium to be high up on a pedestal, and there's nobody in the audience, and there's 1,400 seats that are empty. That's intentional because they want to be set on
When
a.
is that? For tonight?
This has been going on for 2 months now.
Oh, really? They don't do it in that little room anymore?
No,
When that happened?
about 2 months ago.
Costs a lot more to air condition that place.
Well, that's not the point. The point is to elevate them to a higher level over and above the public. And I'm going to go there with the intent to speak to them, because that is a sad situation, because that's not how it should be handled. They want to be elevated just like the Board of Selectmen are elevated in their room. Then, let's make the room smaller, because you're never going to get more people into that room. So, the only other thing that I wanted to bring up, and we will not get into the teachers and the community, but what clubs are permitted and encouraged by the Danvers School Department? We obtained a complete list of all the authorized clubs, which are basically funded by our stipends that we pay the teachers to handle those clubs. But the one thing that was never identified, LGBTQ, gender identification, and other clubs that are being handled at the school department.
That even shouldn't be funded, should it?
It shouldn't. But they are not listed on the list of clubs because they don't want the public to know what's going on. I went to a meeting with the principal of the high school, and I went to the side door, which is the front door now, and I was ready to see the principal. But all of a sudden, there was a outpouring of maybe 100 to 150 students with LGBTQ signs, with clothing, various colors, and they were coming out of the auditorium area and coming to the front door in the high school.
Shouldn't they be learning?
This was at I think 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't know what the school department does, but they need to change their attitude, because our quality of education is going down, and we are introducing subjects that are not pertinent to
Right.
education.
You know what they should do? Instead of giving them money, they should bring the rates. We should not fund them any more money until they bring the rates up, okay? Until the scores go up.
Well, that was the point on the initial article that we talked about, pouring in $250,000 in addition to the $1.5 million by the FinCom without a plan of improvement.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, where do you go and work lousy and get paid more?
Only in Danvers.
It's got to change.
All right, gentlemen, we're almost out of time. John, do you have any last words?
No comment.
No comment.
Wait a minute.
That's
No
not
comment.
you.
Well, what do you expect? We've got the town. People are so content, I assume, that they're not doing anything. They're not participating. They're not giving their opinion. I don't know what they want. So how do you go next?
They want lower taxes, for one thing. That we proved already.
If they wanted lower taxes, why in heck aren't they doing something about it? Right now, your taxes are going to go up. They're going to find more ways to spend money, get money from you, whether you like it or not, it's going to happen.
Thank you, John, for appearing on the show, and thank you,
No,
Tony.
no problem.
And we're off.
And that was good. We had a good formal discussion.
Oh yeah,
about
that's
that.
that's what it's about. We just
Exactly.
need to
It's